There are many, many simulations. When we create a simulation, like a game or a movie, it's the distillation of what's interesting about life.
I have a question to ask. How much computer advancement has been improved from 1900s till now? Some may say thousands of times better, right? But the truth is, it's been hundreds of trillions of times. And guess what? This is just the start. Scientists think that in the next few decades, computers will get millions of times better. This could let us make virtual worlds that are super complicated, like as complicated as our real world. Imagine these virtual characters might even be able to think and feel just like us. But here's the twist. They wouldn't know they're actually inside a computer program. Wait a second though. Could it be that these virtual characters, the ones in the simulation, might actually be onto something? It might sound crazy, but some smart people like Elon Musk think that we might be living in a simulation too. Today, we're going to explore the chances of us really living in a simulation. This is Reveal the Mystery. If you're curious to learn mysteries of the world, space and beyond, consider subscribing. To comprehend the initial piece of evidence, we need to grasp the basic workings of computer games, simulations, and metaverses. When we navigate a character in a game, the game's engine rapidly generates the surroundings we see, city streets, cars, other characters, but only when our character looks at them. Anything outside our character's view doesn't exist, not even emptiness. Imagine using VR glasses. What's in front of you is visible, but behind you doesn't appear until you turn your head. Whatever you saw in front vanishes as you turn. This leads to the question, how do we know things exist when we're not looking? Could our universe operate similarly, showing us only what we observe? This brings us to evidence that our world might be virtual. The first piece of evidence centers on the observer effect. This phenomenon was highlighted by Young's experiment, known as the double-slit experiment, which shows that light behaves strangely when observed. Light, usually an electromagnetic wave, turns into particles when measured. This paradox occurs when examining the fine details of matter. It's like saying a cup of coffee turns into the sound of the sea when you're not looking at it. This experiment has been repeated countless times, always yielding baffling outcomes, suggesting that observation changes the behavior of particles. Let's talk about another interesting aspect of our world, the speed of light. This is a special rule that says light travels at a constant and unchangeable speed. This rule is quite unusual and might make you feel like things are not fair. It's like having a laptop or smartphone with a set processing speed that you can't make faster. Even though we accept this rule for technology, the limit on the speed of light bothers many people. But let's think about the speed of light in a different way. Imagine the speed of your laptop's processor, which is fixed and clearly mentioned in its specifications. You can't make it go faster than that no matter what. We don't usually question this limit, it's just how things work. Now, the speed of light is also a limit, like a maximum speed set for our universe's machinery. This universe might actually be like a computer simulation. Now, the strange part, as things move faster, time slows down. This has been shown by many experiments. We know that at the speed of light, time stops completely. So, if you had a super fast spaceship and could travel at the speed of light to a faraway galaxy billions of light years away, for you, the trip would feel instant. But when you return to Earth, billions of years would have passed. If we consider that our world might be like a computer simulation, things start to make more sense. In a simulation, the speed of light could be a result of how information is processed. This means that not only can things not move faster than light, but information also can't travel faster than light. This idea is similar to how computers exchange information. So, the limit on the speed of light could be like a rule of exchanging information in our universe, much like how computers do it. Let's explore another intriguing piece of evidence concerning the discrete nature of space and time in modern physics. There exists a measurement system known as the Planck unit. According to this system, the smallest measurable unit of space is 1.6 times 10 to the power of minus 35 meters. It's impossible to measure anything smaller than this unit, and this is also the smallest possible length in the universe. Even empty space is not continuous. Rather, it consists of infinitely small chunks. This pixel-like structure has significant implications. Just as a computer screen comprises pixels that make up an image, space is made up of tiny units called Planck lengths. These segments are like the building blocks of space itself. Even when there's nothing present in them, these units of space still persist. This is similar to how pixels on a screen exist, regardless of whether they are displaying light. The concept extends to time as well. Similar to a screen refreshing at a certain frequency, the physical universe has a minimum measurable time known as Planck time. This time interval is incredibly small, 5.4 times 10 to the power of minus 44 seconds. As light travels through space, it occupies these adjacent units of space sequentially, leaping from one to the next in an instantaneous manner. This movement occurs in indivisible units known as quanta. This arrangement sets a maximum speed for light. When a photon moves between adjacent units of space, it reaches its maximum speed. This speed limit is determined by the size of the units of space and the minimum unit of time, Planck time. This implies that the universe refreshes at a certain frequency, much like a computer screen does. This refresh rate is extremely high, 5.4 times 10 to the power of minus 44 times per second. However, our senses are unable to detect such rapid changes, so we perceive the universe as a continuous and unbroken existence, similar to how we don't notice the flicker on a computer screen. This brings us to another compelling piece of evidence: quantum entanglement. Imagine a microparticle, such as a photon, traveling through space. These particles have a property called spin, which can be thought of as a spin direction, although they don't literally rotate. Einstein proposed an experiment to challenge the idea of quantum entanglement. According to this concept, when two particles become entangled, their states become connected regardless of distance. This connection is determined by their spins. If one particle has a certain spin, the other will have the opposite spin. However, this connection seems to defy the limitations of classical physics and suggests that information can travel between entangled particles faster than the speed of light. This phenomenon was confirmed by experiments, but Einstein was initially skeptical. It wasn't until John Bell's intricate experiment that it was conclusively demonstrated that particles don't possess predefined spins. Rather, their spins become defined only upon measurement. In summary, the evidence of the discrete nature of space and time, as well as the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, suggests intriguing aspects of our universe that resonate with concepts found in the digital realm. Finally, let's talk about Nick Bostrom and his ideas. He has 5 assumptions, and if they're all correct, it might mean we're living in a simulation, like a super advanced computer game. First, he argued that it's possible to make computer characters that can think and feel just like us. This is important because it's been hard to imagine how a simulation could have real thinking characters. But Nick thinks it's doable, like making characters in video games who seem smart. Next, he says that if these characters in a simulation become really complex, they might become conscious, like us. He talks about our brains being made of the same stuff as everything else, but somehow we can think and feel. So he wonders if really advanced computer characters could also start thinking and feeling. Then he guesses that if there are super advanced civilizations out there, they won't destroy themselves. This is important because if everyone keeps blowing up their planets or killing each other, then they won't stick around to make simulations. His fourth assumption is that these super advanced civilizations might want to create simulations. Imagine if you could make your own worlds in a computer game and let characters live their own lives. Nick thinks they might like to do that, and maybe we're characters in one of their simulations. Lastly, he says that if there are lots of simulations, it's more likely that we're in one. Imagine if there are many computer games being played, you're more likely to be in one of those games than in the one where everything is real. So Nick thinks if all these assumptions are true, we might actually be living in a big computer game. Some scientists think he's onto something, but others aren't so sure. It's like a big mystery that's still waiting to be solved.